Broken Calabash.
The evening breeze whispered softly through the bustling streets of Lagos, carrying with it the aroma of roasted corn and suya. Children darted through narrow alleys, their laughter mingling with the distant sound of drumming from a nearby festival. Yet, amidst the vibrancy, a young girl sat alone on the stoop of her family's expansive home, her eyes clouded with loneliness. Ngozi was a teenager with a longing heart. Her parents, Nkechi and Obinna, were paragons of modern success. Nkechi, a celebrated TV presenter, was constantly juggling her on-screen persona and social media presence, while Obinna, a tech entrepreneur, was forever glued to his phone or laptop, chasing the next big deal. Their home was a masterpiece of modern architecture, but it felt as hollow as an empty calabash to Ngozi. Nights like these, when her parents were too busy to notice her absence, Ngozi would wander the streets, searching for something, anything, to fill the void. It was on one of these nights that she met Adebayo. A boy not much older than her, he sat slouched against the wall, playing a melancholic tune on a battered harmonica. His tattered shirt and frayed trousers told of hardship, but his eyes held a mischievous spark. "You look lost," he said, his voice rough yet inviting. Ngozi hesitated but then sat beside him.
"Maybe I am."
Over time, their nightly encounters became routine. Adebayo introduced Ngozi to a world far removed from her gilded cage. They shared stolen moments at roadside suya stands, sneaked into lively parties in crowded neighborhoods, and escaped into the haze of substances that dulled their pain. For Adebayo, it was survival; for Ngozi, it was escape. Adebayo was both a guide and a danger. He taught Ngozi how to mask her pain with laughter and how to find comfort in chaos. But he also led her deeper into a life of smoking, drinking, and reckless decisions. The once bright spark in Ngozi's eyes dimmed as she spiraled further into this new world. At home, her absence was barely noticed. Nkechi was preoccupied with her latest social media campaign, and Obinna was engrossed in a pitch for a multinational deal. They smiled for the cameras and their followers, oblivious to the cracks forming in their family. Ngozi's story was not unique. Across the city, other families grappled with similar fractures. In a nearby estate, Funmi and her husband, Adewale, lived parallel lives under the same roof. Funmi, a high-ranking banker, was constantly away on business trips, while Adewale, an oil company executive, spent his nights in endless meetings. Their son, Tunji, found solace in online gaming and dark chat rooms, where he was lured into cybercrime. In another neighborhood, Ominat, a single mother, worked tirelessly as a nurse, often leaving her two daughters, Simi and Aisha, in the care of a negligent housekeeper. Simi, the elder sister, had taken to wandering the streets, while Aisha, barely 8 years old, became a target for unsavory characters in their community. Even the affluent Akindele family wasn't spared. Busy, a popular fashion influencer, and her husband, turned a real estate mogul, presented an enviable life online. Behind the scenes, their daughter, Laura, struggled with an eating disorder fueled by the pressures of perfection.
In the city bustling Ajengule neighborhood,
The Okeke family faced their own challenges. Chidi Okeke, a local politician, and his wife, Ifeoma, a caterer, were constantly at odds over their busy schedules. Their teenage son, Emeka, fell into a gang that promised him a sense of belonging he couldn't find at home. Each family was a reflection of the broken calabash, a facade of success hiding the hollowness within. These stories wove a tapestry of neglect, disconnection, and the consequences of misplaced priorities. One fateful night, Ngozi and Adebayo found themselves at a local hangout, surrounded by graffiti-covered walls and the thumping beat of Afrobeats. Amid the revelry, an elderly man dressed in vibrant Yoruba appeared, carrying a talking drum. He was a griot, a storyteller, whose presence commanded attention. He began to play, and the crowd fell silent. The griot's voice resonated through the room, rich and full of wisdom. "Once, there was a calabash," he began, "beautiful and whole, yet fragile. Its owner neglected it, chasing after glittering baubles, and one day, it broke. The shards were scattered, and with them, the dreams it held." Ngozi felt a pang of recognition. The griot's words seemed directed at her, as though he could see the brokenness she carried. The griot story lingered in Ngozi's mind. Days turned into weeks, and her double life became harder to sustain. Adebayo's reckless lifestyle began to take its toll, and Ngozi's grades plummeted. At school, teachers' concerned glances were met with empty assurances from her parents, who remained blind to the storm brewing in their daughter's life. One evening, Ngozi's world came crashing down. During a party in an abandoned building, the police raided the venue. Ngozi and Adebayo were among those arrested. The shame of being paraded through the streets in handcuffs finally broke the barrier of neglect at home. When Nkechi and Obinna arrived at the station, their public facade of perfection crumbled. At home, the atmosphere was tense. Ngozi's arrest was a wake-up call for Nkechi and Obinna. The broken calabash that was their family stared them in the face, and they could no longer ignore it. The griot story replayed in Nkechi's mind, urging her to confront her choices. The next day, Nkechi sought out the griot, finding him in a bustling marketplace surrounded by a small crowd. She listened as he told stories of unity and familial harmony, each word piercing her heart.
What can I do?
She asked him after the crowd dispersed. The griot smiled. The calabash may be broken, but its pieces can be mended. It takes time, love, and the willingness to change. Nkechi returned home with a newfound determination. She and Obinna began to spend time with Ngozi, learning about her world and sharing their own. Together, they attended cultural festivals, participated in traditional dances, and listened to the griot's tales. Slowly, the family began to heal. Across the city, other families also sought redemption. Funmi and Adewale enrolled in family counseling and began attending their son Tunji's gaming tournaments to understand his world. Aminat moved to a day shift, ensuring she could spend evenings with her daughters. The Akindali stepped away from the pressures of social media to focus on Lara's mental health. The Okekes joined a local youth program, helping Emeka and other at-risk teenagers find purpose and mentorship. The broken calabashes began to mend, piece by piece. Months later, the family attended a grand cultural festival in their ancestral village. Dressed in traditional attires, Nkechi in vibrant ankara, Obinna in regal agboda, and Ngozi in an intricately beaded blouse and wrapper, they joined the community in celebration. The griot was there, his drum echoing through the air as he shared stories of hope and renewal. As they danced under the moonlit sky, the once broken calabash of their family felt whole again. They had rediscovered the beauty of their roots and the strength of unity. Mending the broken calabash, the power of family unity and redemption. Key takeaways. Neglect and disconnection can lead to brokenness. The story highlights how neglectful and busy parents can lead to their children seeking validation and connection elsewhere, resulting in a broken family unit. Redemption and healing are possible through the griot's wisdom and the family's willingness to change. They were able to mend their broken calabash and rediscover their unity and strength. Seeking help and support is crucial. The families in the story sought help through counseling, mentorship, and community programs, demonstrating the value of seeking support when needed. Reflection. What are some ways you can prioritize family time and connection in your own life? What support systems do you have in place for when you need help or guidance? Call to action. Take a moment to reflect on your own family dynamics and consider ways to strengthen your relationships and connections. Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below and let's continue the conversation. A broken calabash may never hold water again, but its shards can tell a story. In the cracks lies the journey of redemption, the power of love, and the wisdom of tradition. Let us remember the echoes of our ancestors, for they hold the key to healing our modern homes.